Look at the weather.
It's beautiful here.
Non-stop rain.
Oh, man, it is a blazer out there.
It's cold and it's shivery.
It is cold.
Really coming down here.
I really enjoy your weather reports.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, we're talking weather in a whole new way. From historical events to what's coming up, plus weather news, science, safety, fun facts, and more.
I like where this is going.
This is Weather Weekly. Weather Weekly with Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey.
It is episode number 87. Good to be with you here as we roll through the middle of the month of September. I'm meteorologist Marcus Bailey with Wish TV in Indianapolis. Kind of had an early taste of fall this week on Monday on the 12th. Really had numbers into the mid-60s. It was awfully cloudy and damp. Had some isolated showers, but football in full swing. College football already a couple of weeks into it now. NFL kicked off this last weekend. So it's good to have that back and definitely had that fall feel to the air. But look, summer is a long way off. Still got plenty of hot temperatures on the way here as we roll through the middle of the month, which we'll have a forecast update coming up at the end of the podcast here. Did want to spend this week's podcast briefly on something that happened over the weekend. And that was, well, I guess it was the end of last weekend into the weekend. And that was a very rare tropical system that impacted parts of southwestern California. Not something that typically happens very often here. It was a tropical system named K, and it did bring some issues around Los Angeles and San Diego. So I want to kind of get you updated on that, talk about how rare that is. That's coming up next here on Weather Weekly.
Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. When it comes to what kind of romance you're into, you don't have to choose just one. Fancy a dalliance with a duke, or maybe a steamy billionaire. You could find a book boyfriend in the city and another one tearing it up on the hockey field. And if nothing on this earth satisfies, you can always find love in another realm. Discover modern rom-coms from authors like Lily Chu and Ali Hazelwood, the latest romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, plus Regency favorites like Bridgerton and Outlander. And of course, all the really steamy stuff. Your first great love story is free when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
It is episode number 87. Good to be with you here on Weather Weekly. Was trying to kind of peruse through what to talk about here today because it's been awfully quiet, which, hey, no complaints. Good to kind of soak things in. And hopefully we can have a nice quiet start to the fall season, which I should mention. This time of year, don't let your guard down. We've certainly had our fair share of severe weather events because it is a transitional time. September, October, November, as you're making your way from the warm summer months to the cooler, chilly winter months, that you can get some action. Maybe not as much as you would expect in the spring, but certainly worth a mention and certainly something that you need to be on guard about as we go over the next couple of months. Always good to be weather aware. Did want to bring something up, talking about being weather aware. So this was interesting, and I was kind of watching this over the weekend. It didn't end up being anything too significant, but I think it's noteworthy. So there was a tropical system that did bring some very tropical-like weather, storms specifically, to Southern California. And you know, those of you that follow weather know that, you know, LA, San Diego, that area there, while it's not unprecedented for tropical systems to impact that region, it is pretty rare. It doesn't happen very often. And there's numerous reasons for that. Part of it's kind of the wind flow of how everything kind of forms south of there. You don't get a lot of activity that will form to the west of Southern California and work its way on the coast. Part of that is because the Pacific Ocean is, especially on the coast there, it is cooler water. So it doesn't really condone any development or maintenance of tropical systems. But it was interesting. So you had Tropical Storm K, which kind of was rolling through during much of last week and kind of worked its way up through Baja California, and then eventually worked its way into California. Now, it wasn't a direct hit; it was more of kind of a glancing blow. But this was a system that was actually a Category 1 hurricane at one point. But by Friday of last week, so that would have been on the 9th, Friday the 9th. There were gusts as high as 109 miles per hour in Southern California in higher terrain, and there was reports of power lines and trees down because of it. Now, San Diego didn't pick up a lot of rain, but I think this is interesting. On Friday, they picked up 0.61 inches of rain. And I love the wording. It shattered its September 9th record of 9/100ths of an inch of rain for that date. So, again, San Diego is an area, just they don't get a ton of rain. It's a very sunny, dry area, right? In extreme south central California, there were flash flood warnings. It was eastern San Diego and western Imperial counties, where some areas did pick up 3 inches of rain. So there were some flooded roads that were reported. And that was an area that also was impacted by, and I'll talk about this, Tropical Storm Kathleen. That was back in 1976. There was also some rock slides that were reported in that region as well. So Kay was a Category 1 storm, made landfall Thursday in Baja California in Mexico. It did weaken to a tropical storm early Friday, but still generated strong winds and drew a surge of tropical moisture northward over Southern California, Western Arizona, and Southern Nevada. Now, not all bad. This is an area that has been under a drought for the better part of a couple of decades here. The rainfall was beneficial over the drought-stricken region, but its intensity did result in substantial runoff, presenting a significant flooding threat, which did play out in some areas on Friday. So, again, we've seen that play out in numerous locations over this summer, right? And spring, Kentucky, eastern Kentucky, we had the devastating flooding. St. Louis, we had the devastating flooding there. Mississippi, that did play out over the last couple of weeks with some devastating flooding. So it doesn't take a lot. It's just, heavy rain over a very short amount of time. Multiple locations in the mountains of San Diego reported gusts between 70 and 100 miles per hour. That was on Friday. Did reach between 40 and 80 in the valleys, and along the coast 40 to 50. So that was pretty significant there. Just kind of looking back, and as I mentioned, the forecasts were pretty spot on that there was a risk of flooding in that southern California area, a little bit east of San Diego and extreme southwestern Arizona, but even Phoenix, Vegas, Los Angeles, Bakersfield, California, all had kind of a moderate risk or a slight risk for some significant flooding there, where they'd get a little bit of rain across the area. Winds weren't quite as bad in some of those northern areas that I previously mentioned, like Vegas, but certainly, again, those higher elevations east of San Diego, you did see gusts up to around 70 to 80 to 90 miles per hour. So, again, just kind of recapping, just some moderate flooding in some areas that did create some mudslides, rock slides east of San Diego. Some pretty strong winds that knocked down some trees and power lines, but it didn't look like there was any significant damage. Did break some rainfall records, but I think it's interesting to note no named system has ever made landfall in California, though an unnamed storm in 1939 crossed the coast around Long Beach, bringing tropical storm conditions. California's most notable encounter with a tropical system was in 1976 when Tropical Storm Kathleen, previously a hurricane over the ocean, entered south central California from Mexico. Kathleen unleashed a maximum rainfall of nearly 15 inches, which is a state record. The storm caused severe damage in Ocotillo and was blamed for 12 deaths in the United States. So that was the most significant named storm. But again, not very common that you have a tropical system that will create problems for California, specifically for Southern California. So something that was just kind of interesting to watch as that played out in that system form. You get a lot of, Pacific storms, and usually they make kind of a beeline toward the Hawaiian Islands, but rarely do they ever kind of work their way up through Baja California and then work their way into Southern California. So something that was very interesting that occurred over the weekend. So just there you go. Something that was interesting since our weather has been quiet. Our weather remains fairly quiet, and if you're not ready to let go of summer, I think you're going to like the extended forecast, which I will have for you coming up next here on Weather Weekly. Here's a look at the forecast for the week of September 12th, 2022. After a cooler start, numbers into the 60s earlier in the week, we're going to bounce back to near normal temperatures here on this Wednesday. The 14th, we'll be seeing highs near 80, should come with a lot of sunshine, and we're back to above average temperatures. Normal high in mid-September is around 80 here in Indianapolis. I think we're going to be into the mid-80s for Thursday, Friday, probably into the weekend as well. All of those days remain dry. There's also some hints that we could see a pretty good jump in temperatures heading into early next week, where numbers could be into the upper 80s. So that is well above average for this time of year. So some good stuff there. Again, if you're not ready to kind of let go of summer just yet. Beyond that, does look like we're going to be staying above average. The 8 to 14 day outlook calling for above average temperatures here. And that would take us almost to the end of the month. The national blend of models keeps us into the mid 80s through the 21st, maybe seeing closer to near normal temperatures for the 22nd and 23rd, right around 80 degrees both days there. If there's any good news, even though we're warming up, the humidity doesn't look like it's going to be on the rise. So this is going to be relatively dry air. It's just going to be warmer than average. But it looks like that could be the trend here through the end of the month. Precip looks to be kind of near normal here. So nothing significant as we roll here over the next couple of weeks. And that's not bad news because we are nearing harvest time. So some good dry weather would be probably welcomed for many of the farmers as they're getting ready to kick off harvest here over the next 3 to 4 weeks across our area. So some good weather, I'm sure, will be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for spending some time with me on this brief Weather Weekly podcast. We always love to hear your ideas. If you want to hear about something, we'll tackle just about any other subject matter you want to talk about weather-wise. You can email me anytime, marcus.bailey@wishtv.com. You can also reach me on social media, Marcus Bailey Weather on Facebook and @Marcus Bailey on Twitter and Instagram as well. I think you can hit me up on TikTok as well. So love to hear your ideas and hope to hear from you soon. While you're here, make sure to check out all the other great podcasts, all part of the great All Indiana Podcast Network. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week, and God bless.
Discover more from Storm Track 8 Weather and Wish TV. Online at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Plus, be sure to check out more great podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.